this computer. All right, hello everyone. This is Roger from Totally Crypto, and today I am talking with Eric Ross, the CTO of LociCoin, who happens to be our December ICO of the month. We've been chatting a little bit. Eric, I really appreciate the candidness that you've had with me. And again, one of the things that we always tell our members is that if you can't talk to people from the team, then it's probably not a good investment. There's a couple other ICOs we were looking at this month, but we couldn't get anybody to respond to us. And I went on your website, you instantly chatted with me, you answered my questions, and that led to this, which is now you are our recommendation to our 16,000 members. So
thank you, Roger.
I really appreciate it. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to actually start a little bit beforehand because you guys are pretty impressive. The reason that we really liked you is because you've been around since 2014 and you actually already have a patent. Can you tell me a little bit about the history of your company and how it led to this project?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of rare in the crypto space to actually see an idea protected by the patents, but intellectual property and patents is our business. That's where it started. Our CEO, John Wise, was actually an engineer on a racing team. And Formula One racing team, he and his team consistently built new and cool gadgets and pieces of technology to fit on their car and to make things better and faster. And what he realized was that the patent system was so convoluted and so broken that it was impossible to take these thousands of ideas that they came up with on the fly and actually turn them into patents. It's just cost prohibitive in general and just would take too long. So he began working with his father actually on this idea of kind of crowdsourcing and moving the patent industry forward in a way where normal people could actually get involved and have an easier barrier of entry to creating a patent in the first place. They started work on the patent from a research perspective almost a decade ago. It was in 2008. They filed the patent in 2012. It was granted in 2014, I believe. This is all available on our website where you can read the actual thing. It is incredibly long and very dry, but it's important because it gives us the roadmap from a technology perspective for how we are moving our platform forward and what it is that we're trying to achieve.
I love that. And I think one of the things that I appreciate about your project is how things have been done right, including having proper legal representation and actually doing your pre-sale through a SAFT so that you were properly registered with the SEC, you raised your money correctly. Can you tell me a little bit about that process and why you chose to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We were actually the second SAFT ever after Filecoin, which had a lot of notoriety. And we've been working closely with Cooley LLP, who's the inventor of the SAFT. They're a law firm right near us here in Virginia. Anyway, the SAFT was important because it created a vehicle through which we could sell our tokens as a security, registered with the SEC, and we did. We sold about 4.5 million tokens, 4.8 I think it was, for just over $1 million. And that process basically allowed us to continue moving forward in this entire thing. But the important thing is now that was a security, and now it is considered utility because we've built out our platform to a point where we actually have clear and concise use cases for our tokens. So we're able to sell it according to utility rules instead of security.
And you kind of just led right into my next question. Your website does a great job of explaining the utility use of the token, but can you go through the three primary ways someone can use this token inside of your platform or your community?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have a fully functional product. It's called InVen. You can visit it at inven.com. It's INNVENN, two N's like a play on invent and in a Venn diagram, which is actually what it is. It's a patent search tool. That is it's a way to really simplify the searching process for a regular person. And we can get into that more if you'd like, but basically it costs $250 per month for a user to have access to our InVen platform, or we're also selling it for 100 LociCoin. So there's a fiat or a token, depending. Basically, we're giving our users an option to potentially save money if the tokens are worth less than that, or to pay fiat, because we want this to be a platform used for idea creation and discovery more than anything. So within the platform also, you have the ability to work directly with a patent attorney to create a claim and actually go through the patent filing process with attorneys that are linked up in our system as affiliates. What we actually do is you can place your you can submit your patent application, and then you can actually come in and allow it to be searchable within Invent. So anybody who's actually searching through the platform for ideas that are similar to yours will see your idea alongside all the other patents that are actually established out there. When they find it, that actually creates a disclosure event, which is something in the IP world that gives you a 12-month grace period to actually file that, if you can prove that you disclosed it. So the way that we handle that is we alert the inventor, and that inventor has the ability to actually file onto the Ethereum blockchain the information about that disclosure event. That process requires a LociCoin, and it will give them an actual immutable proof of that disclosure event happening, which will allow them to prove that they own that IP and give them the grace period to file that patent. And then finally, within the platform now as well, we've created almost like an eBay of IP, where somebody can go in and they can place a bid on existing patents or claims that are created within our system. We facilitate that process through bidding and make sure that we work with the owners of the IP through patent attorneys as well, and just make sure that we can have a full functioning exchange of intellectual property through our platform.
And I think this is really important as someone that has worked on patents before and has team members who have actually filed patents before, that I'm not going to say decentralizing the patent process, although in the long term, you guys are trying to use some crowdsourcing elements to make it a little bit more available so that those with ideas may actually monetize those ideas without having to go through the entire process in the end, which I think is pretty brilliant. And the fact that your platform exists, you've raised money, you have patents, is really why we're making this recommendation. With that, though, there's always the concern. And the concern is that you're dealing with lawyers, which everyone hates. I'm married to one, so I'm allowed to say that. And that you're dealing with the government. We can't really change the bureaucracy of the government in the short term. It sounds like, though, through your platform that you guys will have attorneys that you're comfortable working with that you can recommend to people so that they can get the right services in order to alleviate some of those problems. Where do you think you guys fit into the government bureaucracy and the way that lawyers work in this space? How do you help people overcome some of those obstacles?
Well, it's a very good point. And it's important to point out that within the actual money that we raise from our token sale, we will be building an advocacy group within our company to help influence the actual politics of IP in general, to try to make it better and easier for a regular person. Right now, regular people are at a major disadvantage to corporations that have their own IP lawyers. It can cost upwards of $50,000 to $100,000 to $130,000 to create a patent. It's almost insane, and it's very difficult for a regular person to actually, create a patent and actually own their ideas. So, it's true that the government is the lawmaker. We are not a patent group or a patent firm. Like, we cannot issue patents to people. What we have, though, is we have an ability to work alongside the government through their existing regulations and through the patent attorneys that are linked up in our system. But then we have the opportunity to kind of work alongside that process and give somebody who's a real inventor who has a good idea, while they're working through the patent process, they can try to sell their idea through Invent directly, and even right now. And that's really irrespective of where they are in the patent process. If somebody wants to, they could choose to not patent their idea. The disclosure event that I discussed earlier will still give them that grace period, and they actually get some validation because they know somebody else is looking for this same kind of idea that I already have, and I can prove that I owned it first through the disclosure event.
That's interesting, because you're somewhat violating the rule that ideas are worthless and only implementation has value. But in this case, in the world to come, especially with blockchain and how that actual technology is going to change the way we do everything, you guys are really the first to apply it to the patent industry, which is kind of exciting because we see it happening every place else. But I haven't seen somebody try to apply it to patents yet, and I like that.
Well, if I may say, to me as a technologist, blockchain itself and IP is a perfect fit. Like it's a
I
perfect.
agree.
The problem is that if I go ahead and I put my ID out on the blockchain, it's public. Anybody can find it. Somebody in China can grab it and they can build my product before I even get off the ground. So it doesn't work in today's protectionist plan and through the bureaucracy as it is. But I do believe, and our mission is to really move towards that perspective where we can really, change the way that patents are created and the way that ideas are valued as a whole.
I love it. One of the things that we always do on any of these calls is we kind of go through your allocation model just to make sure that our audience understands that we've reviewed it and we think that it's legitimate. You're going to issue a total of 100 million LociCoin. You're expecting that to have a value of 19 million after a successful ICO or crowd sale that's coming up. 50 million of those are going into that process, starting at about 33 cents after all bonuses and allocation elements. 34 million are going to be saved for airdrops to buy intellectual property from investors, bundle it up and resell it. We're not going to go into that. It's definitely outlined very well on your website and your white paper. I think the important thing for the audience to know is that 34% of the coins are never going to be used to they're not going to be used in a way that's going to make their current coins worth any less. They're actually going to be used to buy up assets to create pools that are actually going to increase the value of coins. And again, we could talk for 20 minutes on that. Read the white paper. We see how they're going to do it. We love it. 5 million of these coins are going to go into a nonprofit to do the type of work that you talked about in working with the government. 11 million are going to the team, of which 2.5 million are going to the founder. The founder is actually the person's name that's on the current patent, so I don't think that it's unfair that they're getting 2.5 million coins. Most people would maybe say that he could probably get 10 million and not have a problem. You've also created a model where he can only liquidate a certain amount every year, that it would take him 5 years to bring all those to market if he wanted to get out. I think the way that you've done this is brilliant. There's a utility value of $2.50 on this token once it's in the public market. So hear that one more time, everyone in the Totally Crypto group. You can get in at 33 cents, and there's a utility value of $2.50 once this is in the open exchanges. You plan on listing your tokens. It's an ERC20 token. You're going to publish your contract 7 days after the token sale is done. That means everyone's going to have liquidity. You'll be able to sell it or trade it on something like Ether Delta, where any coin that's an ERC20 can be taken. You have a plan to get on major exchanges. You're not going to announce that until after. Just that alone is enough to recommend this coin, but I'm going to ask you for one last piece of information. Why should people invest in your ICO?
Well, that's a good question, and you certainly hit all of the main points that we've been trying to cover and be fair both to our purchasers, contributors, and everybody. Basically, we have a platform right now. We have a product in the market right now. We have use cases for our token right now. And that alone establishes us as unique or fairly unique in the ICO market. There's a lot of people with just a white paper and a project. And you know what? Good luck to them. Certainly a lot of them have been very successful and hopefully will be. That's the magic of crowdfunding in the first place. And what this entire ICO movement is to the technology space and the blockchain. But really what we have is we have an established product with established users and a company that's been working towards this for a very long time. This is not just, let's make some money. It's not about that for us. For us, it's about creating an ecosystem and an exchange of ideas that can really change the entire way that people invent and create things. And hopefully what we really envision is moving the idea market forward in a way that anybody with an idea can quickly and easily use it to change the world and really bring transparency and openness to this entire patent process, and really on a global scale. So really, on one hand, there's a distinct utility for our tokens right now. On the other hand, we're on a mission here, and that's what this is all about. This is what it's been about from the very beginning, and we hope that you'll join us on that.
That's awesome, Eric. I really appreciate your time. Once again, guys, this is Roger from Totally Crypto. We will be investing in this ICO. And Eric, I think you guys are going to have a lot of success with this project. I think for a lot of people, you guys are kind of an unknown gem that's hiding out there because you guys have been doing this a lot through word of mouth. Super excited that our team found you. This video will go into our group later today. It'll go up on YouTube tomorrow. And hopefully you'll be available to answer some questions as they come up for our group.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Roger. I appreciate that. And I will be available on the chat on our website almost nonstop, as much as my wife will let me anyway.
Perfect. Give me 1 second. I'm going to stop the recording and I got one more question for you.